Hey girls, this is the second lesson on Geometry 1, which is angles. So, obviously, what do you remember about angles from primary school? Maybe have a think of that first of all, and then we'll go into kind of some of the main concepts that we're going to discuss. So the first thing is understanding angle notation. So when two rays, so remember a ray is a line that starts at one point, continues through another point, and continues on into infinity. So when two rays meet at a point called the vertex, an angle is formed. So we see here's the vertex and a ray. So Joe, there's a point passing through a line, point passing through another point, continue on. And these are called arms or rays of the angle. So an angle is a measure of the rotation of one of the line segments relative to the other. So what that means is it's like if you're rotating the arms, this is where the angle will be formed. The rotation determines the size of the angle. We label points using capital letters, right? So say we label all the corners. If we were to turn it into, not even the corners, this was the points that it goes through. So this is the vertex of a corner, passes through another point on to infinity. This is the vertex or the corner, passes through another point, and an angle is formed. So we label them with capital letters. And the angle can then be described as, with the symbol that looks like an angle, angle ABC. What you notice is that the angle, the letter that's beside the angle is in the middle here. So we wouldn't say angle BAC, we'd have to say angle ABC. So as we said already, angles are measured in degrees. Angles can be named as angle CBA, right? And remember, the letter that's in the middle is where the angle would lie, or you could just simply label it as angle B, because the vertex is at point B. It could also be denoted as angle 1 or alpha, okay? But we'll come back to that again. So as we said, angles are measured in degrees. So let's look at some angles that we may have come across already. So a quarter turn, remember we said that an angle is formed from like a rotation of the arms. A quarter turn measures 90 degrees, okay? A right angle. And you may start taking some of these angles down, right, in your notes. We label a right angle with a small square. Second angle to take down. Angles are measured in degrees. And what we have here is where half the rotation turns measures 180 degrees. Okay. And this is called a straight line. And it is like a straight line. Obviously, if you turned the PowerPoint to the side, this would be a straight line. Okay, 180 degrees or twice 90 degrees. An angle that's 3/4 of a full rotation measures 270 degrees. Okay. And then a full rotation or a full turn measures 360 degrees. Okay. So we've types of angles. So can you think of the types of angles that you would have come across? Obviously, we mentioned some of them, like a right angle, a straight angle, 3/4 of a rotation, a full rotation. But what other types of angles do we have? So acute angles. What type of angles are acute, or what do they look like? Let's have a look here. Here's one. Here's another. Here's another. Now let's take these down, right? This is another note to take down. So acute angles are angles less than 90 degrees. And we can see, so you could take down maybe 2 diagrams just to show what they would look like. Don't have to measure them or anything, but just write down that acute angles are angles less than 90 degrees. Right angles then, right? So we've come across this already. So a right angle will occur when a horizontal line and a vertical line meet. So here we have a horizontal and a vertical line, and it's like they're perpendicular to each other, which we'll come across later on. And they make a 90-degree angle. So a right angle is an angle of 90 degrees. If the angle between two lines is a right angle, then the lines are perpendicular to each other. So those 2 points are good to take down. And here's more examples of right angles, right angles, right angles. Which sample shapes contain right angle? Right, so let's look. This definitely does. This does. This also does, because you have a vertical line meeting a horizontal line, right angle. This does. This does. This does. All of them contain right angles. Every square and every rectangle will have a right angle or 4 right angles. A triangle may not always have a right angle in it, okay? But it does in that case. Types of angles then. An obtuse angle. Can you remember what an obtuse angle looks like? Okay, so we have one going there. So what do you notice? What would be the measurement of an obtuse angle? So let's take this down. Obtuse angles are greater than 90 degrees but less than 180. So they're greater than a right angle but they're less than a straight line. And this angle looks kind of blunt or obtuse, like kind of strange or a bit odd. That's why it's called obtuse. So you may take that definition down and maybe 2 or 3 examples of what an obtuse angle would be. Another type of angle is a straight angle, which we've come across already, so you don't necessarily have to take this one down. So we have 180 degrees. So a straight angle is an angle of 180. So you have all straight lines. Then a reflex angle. Can you remember what a reflex angle looks like? Let's have a look. These diagrams. Okay, so what is the characteristics of a reflex angle? Could you tell me? Take this down as well. Reflex angles are greater than 180, but less than 360. Okay, so greater than a straight line, but less than a full rotation or a full turn, say. So look at all these reflex angles, okay? So maybe take down the definition, heading, and obviously maybe 2 or 3 of the diagrams. Now, I'm going to let you look at the picture here and maybe test yourself, right? You can go through these yourself and you can call out what the first one would be, right? So the first, second, third, maybe give yourself a little test and then you can play the PowerPoint then, right? So the first angle, acute. Second, obtuse. Third, acute. Fourth, reflex. Fifth, right angle. Sixth, obtuse. 7, acute. 8, reflex. 9, obtuse. Did you get all those? Now, supplementary angles. What do you mean by supplementary angles, right? So this is another definition that I'd like you to take down. So when 2 angles add up to 180 degrees, they are called supplementary angles. So say if you had measurement of this angle here to be maybe, we could say 120. We could easily work out that angle then because you know that it's on a straight line. It's kind of like a line is going through dividing the angle that's there already into 2 different size angles, so you'll be able to work them out. So what we'd know that A plus B, or angle A plus angle B, is equal to 180 degrees. And they're called supplementary angles. They kind of supplement each other, or you have one, you'll be able to work out the other. Okay, so I'm going to go through measuring angles in the next lesson then.